when I released my album, like he has like email the president thing. Basically, I just sent him a message like, hey, here's my music. It would be awesome for you to check it out. And then like a few weeks later, like all of a sudden I got this phone call from, it said unknown caller, Washington, D.C. I get a call. It's like, is this Noah Gibney? And then I was like, yes. And then this person was like, the president would like to visit with you because he's going to be coming to Macungie, PA, and he heard your music and loves it.
Noah Gibney.
What's up?
What's up, bro?
Nothing much. Just getting ready to hit the road in a few days because I'm going to be heading down to Delaware to do a few shows. So I'm looking forward to that.
Delaware. Is that all your... Geez, I don't know why I can't speak recently. Is that the only state you're hitting up? Are you doing like a full tour or what's up?
We're going to be playing a little bit in Delaware, Maryland, and Pennsylvania for the next few days. So
right on.
It's exciting. So
is this to like promote the release of a record, or are you just like doing your thing?
It's actually like a couple of things. So I kind of worked this out. So now that school's done for me for the summer, I now have a lot more free time. So that means a lot more shows that I can do. So I'm going to be doing a few shows with Melody Trucks, who happens to be the daughter of original Allman Brothers member Butch Trucks. So that'll be exciting. So and we're going to be doing a few shows together. So
how'd you get hooked up with her?
So actually, so I got hooked up with her through playing with another band called the FXV Brothers, which are two brothers that are from Delaware. And I kind of met up with them through like social media and stuff like that, and we're going to be like the backing band for her. So that's how this all came together. So
killer, man. And so you're not that old, right?
No.
I was gonna say, how long have you been playing for, man? But it's really not that long at all.
Since I was about like 4 or 5, so I guess it kind of has been a pretty decent amount of time.
11
yeah, 12 years.
Killer, man. I saw you at I went to the Habitat for Humanity Birdhouse Challenge.
Oh, right. Yeah, that was at the Doubletree Hotel.
Yes, I was there, and I got a couple birdhouses, but I saw you open up the whole show.
Yeah.
Yeah, my man Brad Wiseman was announcing you guys and stuff, and I was like, oh, this dude looks cool. Looks pretty cool up there, but I never thought you were only 16. You definitely older to me from the stage.
Well, that's what actually a lot of people seem to say. Like, based on like my voice is kind of more mature, so like people always, it's funny. Like at a few of the past shows, like people like place like quote unquote like bets on my age, and then like they'll be like, "What's your age? What's your age?" That's happened a few times.
No, it's cool. It was awesome. You guys did a great job. I enjoyed all the tunes, which is pretty cool. And it was coincidental and fortunate for me that Sean got in touch with me. He was like, hey, you really got interview this cat Noah Gibney. So that was cool. So thank you, Sean, if you're listening. He's probably listening too.
Yeah, he probably yeah.
So what I know it sounds like a cliche question, but you said you started playing 4 or 5. Like, what was the motivation? Were you into music? Did your parents say, hey, start doing this instead? Or what goes on in that realm?
Well, music was always in my house, and pretty much how I got into music was just by loving listening to music too. Like my dad and I would always like take a few like road trips and stuff like that and just listen to music, like whether it was like songs by like Bob Marley or like the Grateful Dead, like all kinds of different music. And I definitely would say that my dad really kind of and his musical taste inspired me to learn music. And just by loving music inspired me to end up playing music too. So definitely, I just always loved listening to music, which then transpired into me learning how to play music. So,
I can tell you like the Grateful Dead. Your button
yes.
downs,
yeah,
all the teddy bears, man.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Well, thanks.
It was your main instrument, the piano?
Yeah, that's what I started with. And I actually was I started with ukulele first. When I was about like 4 or 5, and then later someone suggested that it would be a good idea for me to learn piano, because piano is kind of like the fundamentals of like music theory is all on the piano. So like after that, that's when kind of with learning the piano, that's when I like really was interested in music and trying to make that into a career. So
right on, man. When did you realize you were good enough, I guess if you want to call it, to start doing this for a career, like this is your future goal. So when you realize, all right, I'm gonna get to school probably, and then go hardcore on this.
That's an interesting question. So I'd say like I always was like into it, but when I really felt like I was getting somewhere was kind of when I was about like 11 or 12 was when I was like really realizing that like from like a realistic point that this was a career that I wanted to have. And just by like getting compliments from like better musicians and stuff like that, that's when I was like really like, wow, I can do this as an actual career. So
what were some of the more influential names maybe that gave you those compliments?
Well, I'd say like some of the local musicians, I'm trying to think of specifically, but and it's actually like interesting. Like a lot of the people that seem interested in playing with me now are in my band. Like two names would be Chris Kerr and Matt Cullen, who started playing with me around 3 years ago, and we started my first band, the Noah Gibney Trio. So I'd say like that's when I had a band. I'd say like my own band. That's when I was like, wow, I'm really getting somewhere. So yeah, that's when it all really kind of started taking off, like even like another level. Like when I was like, that's when it was like becoming a real career, like not just like some kid playing music, but as sorts of just like someone who's trying to make a career out of it. So that's kind of where that like next level took place.
Right on. And the dudes in your band, are they your age? Are they older?
No, they're older, like older musicians.
How old are those guys?
I think probably like in their 40s and 50s now.
Really?
But yeah, like I actually like that though, because they're very, very much experienced. Like they were very much able to help guide me, if you know, like based on their past experiences. So they definitely have given me a lot of great advice. So
right on. So you got almost like a couple dads, let's say, on the road.
Yeah, like mentors. Yeah.
So what are you into, man? Like I know you brought up the Grateful Dead, you brought up Bob Marley, but like I was in a band, when I was a younger kid.
Nice.
Yeah, but I was like inspired by Metallica, Pantera, like heavier music.
Nice.
What inspires you, man? Like what makes you want to like sit in front of that piano and just start writing?
I'd say like for me, are you saying like what like inspired me to play or?
Well, yeah, I know it sounds like a bad question because I was like, what bands do you listen to, but what inspires you to play? So I guess let's go for like, what bands do you listen to? What bands do you really dig? And then we'll get into like what inspires you.
Certainly. So I'd say like some older bands that I've really gotten into would be like the Allman Brothers, the Grateful Dead, the Beatles, Bob Marley, Bill Withers is another great artist. Like I'm trying to think of other. Like Otis Redding is another great musician. Otis Redding, yeah. Like a lot of that 70s soul stuff I really love. But then also there's some like really nice contemporary groups now that I'm found into as well. Like I'm trying to think. Are you familiar with the band Wolfpack?
No, I don't think
they're a great band that's out there. I'm trying to think what else is another.
Yeah, freaking teach me, man, because I keep listening to the old stuff.
Yeah, they're a good band. They're kind of like funk, I'd say, but they have some really interesting music out there. So,
Killer.
Also, like I love all kinds of different music. Like another musician that I love listening to is Jack Johnson.
Oh, I love Jack Johnson.
Yeah, he just has that, like especially like when it's the summertime and we're at the beach. That's like just the perfect mood.
Soundtrack.
Right.
Yeah, I was in Central Park a few weeks ago, and I was walking through there with my wife, and I remember seeing him at like Central Park Summer Stage. I'm talking like years ago, man. This is back when I still lived in New York. It's a cool show to watch, man.
I bet.
It's cool, and it's exactly what it sounds like on record is what you see in person.
Nice, yeah. I haven't seen him yet. I want to go. We were hoping to go last year, but then I think he had COVID, and then his show got postponed, and then I couldn't make it. But hopefully the next time he comes around the area, we'll be able to see him play. So.
Yeah, right on. What was the last show you went to?
Dead and Company on last Thursday. That was a freaking killer show.
How's John Mayer?
He's really awesome. He's just like it's very cool to see him like because he basically kind of took the place of Jerry Garcia, who passed, and it's kind of like his gig now. So it actually is the last tour of that group together. So it was just great to see him one last time. It was my third time seeing Dead and Company as that group. And it was an amazing concert, and they played like all the songs I wanted them to play. It was great.
What's why are they breaking up, or what's going on next?
I think it's a mixture of like original members and some newer members that take the place of some of the people that passed away or just aren't touring anymore. But basically, like in the Grateful Dead, I'm not sure how familiar with the band you are, but they're like the two main guys were Jerry Garcia and Bob Weir. So basically, like now it's in that Dead and Company, which is basically kind of like taking the place of the Grateful Dead. It's John Mayer taking the place of Jerry Garcia and Bob Weir. So like those are like the two like main people of the group. So I think Bob Weir's like kind of getting like almost like too old to tour or something like that. I think that's part of why they are. This is the last one, but I think they've been doing like this group for like I want to say like 8 or 10 years now. So
right on. Yeah, I'm a huge John Mayer fan.
Me too.
I mean, I just dig the way that dude plays guitar, man.
Right.
It's such a. I think he's inspired by Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Definitely.
Yeah, like you hear Stevie Ray in his playing like all the way, dude.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I really dig him. So to go back to my other question, I guess what inspires you to sit down in front of that piano, man, and start, writing?
It always, like, for me, like, when I start writing songs and stuff like that, it's always, like, different. Like, I think I've never really written a song the same way ever, like, before, like, the same exact way. But I'd say what inspires me is, like, depending on, like, what I've been doing, like, in, like, my life, whether it's, like, being with people and, like, different stories and stuff like that, that's kind of what has inspired me and my songs and stuff like that, just, like, kind of being, like, a storyteller. And also, like, playing music, it just always brings me so much joy just to, like, sit there and work out a tune and stuff like that. Like, that's kind of, like, my, like, almost, like, way of, like, coping with things or, like, almost, like, my meditation and stuff like that. So, it's just I always find myself in a good mood when I'm playing music. So, that's why I do that.
No, that's great, man. I mean, I just, just talking to you now just kind of reminds me of being, 16-year-old myself. I mean, I was just trying to learn how to play Metallica tunes, man. When I was 16, that's all I was trying to do. But of course, I was doing a little bit of due diligence, and I was checking you out online. And you got hooked up with G-Love.
Yes.
So how in the heck did that happen?
So this was actually a few years ago during the pandemic, and G-Love was supposed to be in tour in Japan, but then he got sent back home because of COVID. So then he was kind of in more of like a creative mode and like looking to collaborate with some people. So I just hit him up in Instagram DMs and was just like, hey man, it would be great to collaborate on some stuff. And I wasn't like thinking to hear back from him, but then like literally like a few like hours after I saw it, and he was like, man, that would be awesome. And then we started writing some songs over Zoom, and that's kind of how we did the songwriting. And actually, like, my first lesson was on my 13th birthday with him, where we were writing songs together. And then we ended up writing, like, 15 songs together over the pandemic. So it was so much fun. And he just is such a nice, like, down-to-earth guy to be able to work with. And it just was overall a great learning experience about, like, writing and working with other professional musicians. So
he just answered your DM.
Yep.
And he was like, "Yeah, let's write some tunes together."
Yeah, it was amazing.
That is killer, man. I mean, because you expect these musicians and celebrities to just not even be the ones that are even answering their DMs,
right? Yeah,
they have like assistants or whatever. What came about? Like, did you guys write a record or?
Yeah, so basically we kind of wrote 2 records together. So we did one that I released called the Serendipity Sessions, which was my debut EP, which I released, I want to say like a year and a half ago now. So, and then also we wrote a few like Christmas tunes for his Christmas record. So that was really nice for him to record songs that we wrote together. And I actually got to play piano on the record too. So that was really, really nice to be able to play on his record. So
wow, where'd you record? Where'd you get to record those tunes at?
So I actually have a home studio at my house. So like now with all the technology and stuff like that, like you can just like, so he sent me some tracks and then I just recorded it at my home studio and then like sent it back to his producer. So it's crazy that you can do that kind of stuff now. Like you don't even have to leave your house.
I know you
to
don't,
collaborate.
Man. You don't. And I'm so jealous of that too, man. Because when I was a kid, you had to go to a studio,
Right.
or you had like 4 tracks with a cassette in it.
Yeah.
Now it's the computers, man. You can just do anything from around the world.
Yep. Yeah. Now they even have like Logic Pro on like your iPad now. Like you can like
Yes.
literally just like everything's at your fingertips now.
Yeah, wasn't there like was the Gorillas? Didn't they record a whole record on like an iPhone or an iPad or
I
something?
think that might have been. I'm not too familiar with him, but I know Steve Lacy did that. He's a new like contemporary artist who recorded like a whole album on his iPhone. Like that stuff just like fascinates me. Like that you can do that. Like you don't need this like massive like recording studio with all these different like buttons and stuff like that. You can just all do it on your phone or iPad or computer.
I know it's come a long way so quickly
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
Because I'm only 44, so I mean I was in a band just 20 years ago. So in 20 years you went from cassettes to just a freaking screen.
yeah, where you just tap stuff and can just plug and play.
It is insane, man. Insane. So, do you ever plan on playing live at G Love, or like is anything like that
We
ever
actually
happen?
have before.
Oh, you have.
So I was actually able to sit in with him last year when he played at the TLA in Philly. So that was an amazing experience. Like I had a feeling that he would. So he was able to give us tickets, and I had a feeling like he might decide to like want me to play. So we decided to like bring my keyboard. And I like all of a sudden I got like a text like, "Hey, do you want to play a few songs?" And then it's funny because then my dad was just like sprinting back to the car with like a keyboard case, and then it looked like almost like he was like carrying like a dead body in the back, just sprinting down South Street. But it was an amazing experience to play with him because it like after when I got to see him last year, it's been like it was some time before I got to see him before, so definitely my playing has improved since the last time. So it was great to be able to play with him in front of his audience. So
How do you how much do you feel you've improved from like 13 till even just today?
so much. I'd say I even improved a lot in the last year. So basically, like I've just been keeping on working and working and working, and definitely I felt like some improvements and just like finding my weaknesses and strengths and just making them better. And I've always had like the growth mindset kind of thing, like just to be better than the person you were yesterday. So I've just like kept on doing that, and that's where I found the most growth. And it definitely shows. Like it's always funny looking at like old videos of like little Noah. It's just
Because you're so big now.
yeah. Like just the other day, there was like a Father's Day thing I did at the Reading Phillies Stadium like 5 years ago. It's like, oh my gosh, how did anyone ever listen to that?
5 years ago, I see you were 11.
Yeah.
See, that's insane. Like that's so awesome to see young musicians. I was watching this TikTok the other day. This kid was like 11, and he was doing the solo for like an Avenged Sevenfold song.
Wow.
And I was like, I can't even do that now. And this dude's 11. I sent it to my buddy, and he texted me back. He just wrote, "I quit." It's insane. I feel like kids. I don't know. I just feel like they're just more advanced these days. It's not like when you were like when I was 11. Like the kids are just, I don't know, evolution, something.
Well, I think part of it too is this whole social media thing that like people didn't have like, I don't know, like 20, 25 years ago, is that like now like to see like there's so much more information you can get online. Like you can literally just like scroll through YouTube and just like learn a bunch of stuff. Like it's just like things now are like you can literally learn anything on YouTube right now. Like it's crazy. And I think that's part of why there's so much more people like desired to like learn their crafts and stuff like that. So
yeah, there's no reason why you can't literally learn anything.
Right.
Like you just got to go on your computer or your phone, go to YouTube, type in whatever it is, and it's right in front of you.
Yep.
Yep, I love it.
Me too.
So I got one more thing. You met the president.
I did.
How did that happen?
It's a crazy story.
Yeah, because I want to hear it.
So, this was like about a year ago when I was able to meet him. So, when I released my album, I don't even know why I did this, but I decided to send to his website, like he has like email the president thing. Like I'm sure he probably gets a bunch of emails, but basically I just sent him a message like, hey, here's my music. It would be awesome for you to check it out. Like, I don't even know why I did this, but I did. And then like a few weeks later, like all of a sudden I got this phone call from, it said unknown caller, Washington, D.C. I was like, it's, you know how those spam calls, you just don't answer them. I was like, you know what? I might just take this one because why not? And then I get a call. It's like, is this Noah Gibney? And then I was like, yes. And then this person was like, the president would like to visit with you because he's going to be coming to Macungie, PA, and he heard your music and loves it and would love to visit with you. And then it's funny, like I got off the phone and I told my parents that, and they're like, this is a scam, blah, blah, blah. And then, well, then we researched it and researched the person that sent the phone call over, and it was legit, and it seemed he was coming to Macungie, PA, so we're like, sure. Well, because the reason why my parents were like scared about it was because like they asked for like your like a bunch of like information, like Social Security.
Of course.
They needed to do that because they have to make sure that you're like not like a crazy person that would be a threat to the president. But basically, so we did that, and then we decided to go. It was like a Wednesday in, I want to say like July when this happened. And it was just nuts. Like it was funny because like when we got there, like the Secret Service like they're everywhere. They're like in the trees. It's like everywhere. Like everywhere you look, there's Secret Service. But there was like so many like background checks you had to go through. And I remember like they gave us this like, well, he was giving a speech there. So like there were people that were there just for like the speech, just to see him, like that might have gotten it through like their company or something like that. But we got like a few people got these red wristbands, and we were like, what does this mean? And then like it was like this person was like, all the red wristband people like come here. And then we like did this like almost like path through the Macungie Mack truck plant, which was where the speech was held. And then all of a sudden there was like this waiting room like to meet the president where he was doing a meet and greet. Like, oh my gosh, it was just like, it was insane. And then like all of a sudden more Secret Service swarmed, and then we heard like President Biden's voice like in the background, like, and then all of a sudden he was like, I was like, oh my gosh, he's here. And then like all these people were like it was almost like a photo line to meet him. And like all these people, like I think the former governor, Tom Wolf, I think that's his name, he was there. And then also now Governor Josh Shapiro was there as well too. I think it was cool to just even meet those guys too. And then all of a sudden, like we were able to meet the president. He was just like, again, he was like just like a down to earth guy, and he was just like a great guy to just like have a conversation to. Like I was like, oh my gosh, I'm meeting the president. Like he just was like an average guy that happened to be president, and it was just amazing. And it was cool him telling stories too. Like I didn't know this, but his father was a saxophone player too. Like he was like telling me all these stories about like him like practicing saxophone. It was great to have a conversation with him, and it was certainly a great experience too. So, and also like this last part too, like I handed him my CD to like for him to sign it, and I was thinking like I don't know if they're gonna let this happen because they have to like make sure that it's not like take precautions.
Right.
Like it seems to be like a theme of the thing. But and then so I handed him one of my CDs signed, and then eventually, so we were heading back to see the speech, and then all of a sudden these people were shouting, Noah, no! Like I was like, did I do something wrong? Like I was like getting all red in the face, and then there was the CD that he signed, and it says, remember me when you hit the charts. It was an amazing experience, and certainly a once-in-a-lifetime experience that I'll never forget. So
yeah, I would say so, man. That's killer. So what are your goals, man? What are your plans? What does Noah want to achieve?
Well, I definitely want to make a career out of music. And I think what I'd like to do is go to the Berklee College of Music. And then that's kind of where what I'd like to do is like figure out what field I want to be in, whether it would be like a performing artist or producer, songwriter. And I think that's what college will be good for me, is to explore what like professional career that I want to be in. So
awesome, man. So Berklee, so that means you'll be going there in about 2 years?
Yeah, about 2 years. Yep.
2 years, and one of my favorite bands of all time, I think, formed their Dream Theater.
Yeah, I've heard of those guys.
Yeah, Prague. It was like they're from Long Island, but I think they all went to Berklee.
Yeah,
and that's
those
how
guys are killer musicians.
Jesus.
Dude, their musicianship is amazing.
I love them. That's awesome. I want to start getting like because I'm a kid when it comes to music, you know, and I like having these cool music conversations. Who's your favorite artist?
It's an intriguing question.
Don't think, just first name.
I'd say probably Bill Withers. That's the one to go with. Yeah. I just love his sound. Like, it's just like whether it's a song like Ain't No Sunshine or Lovely Day, like he just has such good songs. Like, it's just,
my wife loves Bill Withers.
He's again, like, he has that like chill, like soul vibe that like you just can relax to. Like, he just seems like another, like, I seem like all the musicians that I seem to like are just like seem like down to earth people. Like, he just seems like he's just a chill guy that happens. I think that like he had a pretty late career. Like, he didn't start like playing guitar until his 30s, and then he just happened to hit. So
I mean, that's the beauty about music, man. I mean, it doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are. I mean, it's like that universal language that everybody just gets into.
Yeah, and you can just do it for the rest of your life too. Like, that's one of the only professions that you can just enjoy for the rest of your life.
Absolutely, man. Listen, Noah, it was a pleasure having you in here, man. You know, I enjoyed watching you play for us at the Birdhouse Challenge. I wish you the best of luck on tour. You know, have a great time doing that, and you know, let's do it again real soon.
Well, thank you very much. It was great chatting with you, and thank you again, Sean, for linking us together.
Thanks, Sean.
And thank you so much for having me on the show.
Hey, thanks for checking out this episode of Fred Talk. Visit us online on fredtalk.tv and make sure you like this video and subscribe, and check out these playlists and all these other crazy videos McCookie wants you to watch. And don't forget, your Uncle Freddie loves you. Peace.